Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Mage the Ascension 20th anniversary rules by Onyx Path Publishing. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. Our World of Darkness is intended for adults. Listeners should pay close attention to all listed content warnings. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your storyteller. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your storyteller this evening, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him. And we are back with our Mage, the Ascension of Babylon series for you. And we have a lot of fun things to get to. Before we do, though, we'd like to thank our listeners and especially our Patreon supporters. If you've not had a chance to check out what we offer, you can. And that's at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. It is also the only way to get all of our episodes ad-free. So if you're the type of person that really does not want to hear ads during your show, I can promise you'll never hear an ad on the Patreon side. And you can also check us out on YouTube. So just type in the Old Ways Podcast. You'll find our YouTube channel, subscribe there, and you can get all of our playlists and all of the visual content that we do that's over on YouTube. You can jump over to twitch.tv/theoldwaystwitch and see us live stream there. And maybe, just maybe, you could suggest something for us to stream that might be World of Darkness related. Who knows? Hilarity could ensue. I'll get to my introductions for the players here to my right.
Hi, this is Allie, and I play Kayleigh Hannah Godfrey, and we are at a library.
Indeed you are. You are at a library owned by a man named John. And to Kayleigh's right.
This is Lecco as Dante Maxenberg as Bailey, who is stuck in a crusty-ass library with no desire to read any of the stuffy, pointy-hat, Dewey Decimal books and baubles BS.
It's the drugs talking, right? Maybe, maybe not. And along with Dante.
I'm Bunny. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Dante's tutor. And I'm so excited to be communicating with experienced mages that didn't just wake up and interact with their libraries. It's so cool.
Hey, look, people that know things. Adult conversations. Catch it at the end of the table.
This is Jake playing Oliver Devereaux, and I have had an amazing dream, and the scales have fallen from my eyes.
Indeed, they have. And along with Oliver.
This is Silas. I am playing the entity known as Suits, and yeah, I think we can cause some trouble now.
You can. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Adam Harrison, who, while he finds books interesting, is more of a man of action. Although, maybe this book is interesting.
You never know. You'll have to investigate what's in that book. So we're going to raise the curtain tonight back in a library. And I'm going to focus for just a moment, the briefest of moments, on what got us here. So very recently in our story, on the 29th, the Sphere in Las Vegas came online, and there was a wonderful light show and a concert by U2, and then an after party on top of the Wynn. And that's really when everything went to hell. There was a fantastic and powerful image projected on the Sphere of a strange woman dressed in black. And then she began chasing our mages, potentially chasing them, at least it seemed that way, through the wind as they tried to exit and leave. And in the aftermath, the next day, there was a terrible, terrible dust storm. That dust storm has hung over Las Vegas now for many hours. The mages eventually grouped back up, and they went to see Oliver's mentor, friend, John Crescent, at his library in hopes that the Order of Hermes might have some knowledge as to what this spirit is, what could be possibly done about it. And I wonder, Oliver, given your recent experience, I wonder how you're looking at this library now. I wonder if there's a difference in the way that you see it or experience it.
I imagine it's more of a appreciating exactly how much knowledge is here on a more fundamental level. Like, instead, like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of books in here, and there's gonna be a ton of stuff in here to find. Now I understand exactly what kind of knowledge is in here.
On some fundamental level, yes. Especially given what that knowledge could mean to you.
Right.
And I don't doubt, Suits, you probably feel the same way.
That would be hard to argue with.
So the group sort of fanned out at one point to look through things, or perhaps they stayed next to the lectern to watch Tutor pass notes back and forth between her and John Crescent. But I wonder, based on the knowledge that you need to obtain in this library, I wonder if the players might like to make a little bit of research rolls to sort of spend their time, if they're choosing to spend their time. So that if you'd like to do that, if you have the academic skill, I'll let you sub that in. You could also use potentially the occult skill or cosmology. We'll mix them up like a fancy cocktail.
Would investigation be acceptable?
I'm going to say no, only because you're looking for something that's very particular.
Okay.
Like, if you could use investigation to find like the place to look for the knowledge, but without having a fundamental esoteric or at least esoteric, if not occultic knowledge. A lot of the books here are written in Latin.
Got it.
So are we looking at academics, say, and wits or intelligence?
I think this is probably wits. I would mention, and just before your rolls, just in case there are any mages here who might have background dots in past life, it does act as a potential pool for skills you may have had at one point that you do not now.
So if that's the case, do we just roll past life with wits, or do we roll past life by itself?
Roll your past life, and then if you get 8 or over, you can access that skill.
Okay.
As for Dante, he's likely wandering around the library, kind of absent-mindedly following the trails of energy he's been recently made aware of that he can kind of focus in on. And I think that I would gravitate toward books or materials that are indicative of like anatomy or health, or even like body chemistry or medicine, or materials that have to do with this whole like pattern-focused approach to understanding the nature of everything, preferably written in English, Spanish, or French. But I do have dots in past life. So if in my psilocybin-induced haze, Latin decides to make itself aware to me, I might not even know, but you never know.
That's true. You might not.
Is esoterica a viable skill in this endeavor?
For what you're specifically doing, yes.
Okay.
It's a little bit more yogi than it is, say, Aleister Crowley.
Yeah. It's kind of Dante's thing.
Yeah. All right, so those of you who are rolling to find helpful books, please report or roll.
I'm sorry, I do have one question. Do I add my past life dots, or do I use them instead of things?
You use them. Basically, the way I'm going to rule it is that you're going to make a roll, and if it's 8 or above, you're going to have a dot, right? So, like, if you roll 2d10 and they both come up 8 and 9.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You'll get Latin plus maybe something else.
So roll it separately and then roll the thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so my 2 past life were a 2 and a 0. So are you going to count that as 2 dots or just as 1 dot?
I'm going to count it as 1 dot.
Okay.
I don't think we want 10s exploding on past life.
No, I didn't think so. Just in case.
Unless you have like past life 5, and then totally. We'll just crank it all the way to 11.
Okay, so with the 1 past life dot, I got 3 successes.
Okay.
So with past life, I got 1 success, and with my intelligence esoteric roll, I got 3 successes.
Cool. I like this so far.
I will first want to cast an entropy effect.
Okay. What
I
effect
want
do you-
to boost our luck in finding the necessary books.
Okay, so let me be very careful about this. Boost our luck or boost your luck?
My luck.
Okay. I'm just saying for the for a mass entropy effect, it's going to be you're going to be cooking with a lot of gas there.
I was using R as in, the group.
Yeah,
but yes,
the royal hour,
right.
Sure.
But yeah. So that's what I want to do.
Okay. What focus will you be using for
I
entropy?
will have my cards out, and as I shuffle my cards and look for and try to odds the cards, I'm going to also be shuffling books in my mind.
Okay, interesting. So a little bit of visualization, a little bit of chance going on. Sure.
Mhm.
Go ahead and roll your Arate.
And that's highest fear plus 3, right? The difficulty.
Yes, difficulty is highest fear plus 3.
Okay. Right, that is 2 successes.
Okay. So I will just say for Bunny, the message that you were sent before game, the information you were sent, this is when you see it happen. Suits, your guy gets right to work. He hasn't even been out of this, new shell more than 2 minutes, and here comes the juice.
Good job, Oliver. Good job.
I know, right?
You take an immediate left, like as you're walking through this sort of vast university-sized library, you take an immediate left and you find yourself in front of a series of shelves that, yes, have books on them, but the tags on these books are a little different than anything else you've seen in the library.
Do you want me to make an academics roll now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. 3 wits, 3 academics.
Tutor's just going to follow along behind him and watch him work for a minute.
3 successes.
Okay. Not that Oliver will notice it, but clearly, Suits will notice that you're poking around, probably.
You just get a knowing smile.
You get an impressed look back as I continue to follow him and watch.
Oliver, you find a book called Deep Umbral Lords and Their Natures.
This looks interesting.
So, for other folks, 3 successes as far as Dante is concerned is going to lead you to a manual on bodily health. It was written in the 1600s by a man from Spain, it looks like. The name on the manual, it's like a leather-bound tome that has 2 big bands, one on the top and one on the bottom, that kind of keep it sealed shut. It probably weighs like 12 pounds.
Gnarly.
And there are these big, wrought iron clasps that keep it shut.
Go find a table to drop it on.
Yeah, you do, with an immediate thud.
Sorry. Not sorry.
I was under the impression gunshots in the library were not okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you about how awesome this book looks.
It is pretty sweet.
It's written by a man named Juan Martin de la Vega.
These clasps is it locked or is it just belted?
No, it's just belted. It's
Oh, okay. But I'll be gentle because I don't know how old or crusty this leather is, so I don't rip it open.
surprisingly, it seems like it's in reasonably good working order. It's almost as if someone cares for this book.
How supple.
Indeed. Okay, so I'll leave you with that book for just a second. Oliver has his book that he's found, and so I'm going to go back to Kayleigh, who was searching. What skill were you searching with? You find a book, perhaps unsurprisingly, on the effects of the witch trials of Salem and their effects on the populace of New England. And then, Adam, I want to know what you're up to.
Adam actually does not have any research or academics. And besides, books are not traditionally his thing. He associates heavy reading with, unfortunately, being pent up and forced to read. So I think that he's just going to have one or two more of those fungi he brought with on the sly, offer one to Dante, and then he's going to find a comfortable corner to sit, make himself a nice place, and he's going to meditate for a while because this place is quiet and not dangerous, and that is actually two things that he has not had time to actually, indulge in for a while.
Well, when Adam offers me this room, I'll actually grab him by the wrist because I'm sure that he doesn't. I'm guessing Adam doesn't speak Spanish. He might. I don't know. Hey, so I'll give his stout forearm a nice squeeze. Hey, so there's this Manuel de Salud Corporal. It's a manual of health written in the 1600s. There's probably some zany shit in here.
I do like zany shit. Go on. I was going to go pop a squat, but
I'll gesture across the table.
Right.
I don't know if this is going to get into weird, but I kind of, it might get weird.
Adam kind of looks around referentially, gestures a little. There's weirder than this. Fantastic.
Maybe, who knows? I pop the shroom.
Okay. Psilocybin takes a little while to kick in, but...
Same, but Adam decides to stay over and indulge in this weird, freaky shit book, apparently, that Dante has cracked the lid on.
Okay. So, at first, Kayleigh, the witch trial book doesn't seem like it would be as useful. In fact, it seems like you're being steered away from what you need, because this talks about, the people's reaction, the colonists, how it affected people who lived in the area. But it starts to dig into some names. And they begin to talk about a spirit that gets encountered. And the spirit that they continue to bring up is a spirit called Babel. But it's not written like you're used to seeing. It is written Babil.
I'll make a note of that in my phone. I'll just type it out with a question mark.
The story seems to dig into the presence of this spirit at several different wilderness sites. There's a analog, something like a campsite or a campground, or perhaps these are just places where men would hunt. But they continue to mention that this spirit was found whispering to men in hopes of attempting to, make pacts with Satan, or a lot of the same sort of linear thinking that was present within the witch trials. But one man reportedly who was convicted of being a witch and put on trial and was burned at the stake, unfortunately. He spoke of great power that he was given. And the tale that's told in this book is that the man was able to shred a house by calling to it, stripped the bark off the wood, and then peeled the house like one would peel the fat off of an animal or the hide off of a hog.
Oh.
I'll leave you there. So, Oliver, the Deep Umbral Lords and their natures is a dense, ultra dense tome. It is something that is going to take you a little while to chew on, but the brushstrokes that you get from the first few pages talk about really like tidal forces of the universe that exist. And in these forces, their methods and their sort of like what makes them who they are is really how they get their power. And they can sit in the Umbra for thousands of years without doing seemingly anything. And they control vast swaths of umbral reality. And many of them are powered by what seem to be stars. Energies of small suns that have sunk below the horizon line and fallen to them in the Umbra. Some of them, however, are still active, and they go about whatever they need to make sure that their essences continue to go on. Because the Deep Umbra is a place of forgetting. And it is very easy there for someone, or perhaps a spirit, to get lost and to be truly lost and discorporate because there is nothing left to them to hang on to. Reading deeper, there is within it the mention of the ability for some deep umbral lords, and lords is a term that is used in the book. It is not meant to be solely male as it would be in the current realm. They talk about how some of these spirits can reach from beyond, and in some cases surface. And when they do, their power surfaces very erratically, unless there is something that is there to focus for them. Because breaching the gauntlet is very difficult for them, and with good reason. If the gauntlet was ever to drop low enough to where they could potentially breach, it would be like, well, it could be very bad. The first image that pops in your head is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That is your immediate analog. Oh, right. Yeah, that would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of marshmallow.
Tell them about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie?
It centers you on the idea, Oliver, that if this thing was from in the Umbra, you probably need to go to where it focused at. That's going to be its last touch. That's probably going to be the sphere.
All right. I'm going to call out. Hey, I found something.
Look up at Dante.
How far in are we when this happens?
You're not terribly far in, although the book is fascinating.
So I was going to do, I wanted to do two things while I started reading. Now that I have a nice hefty dose, and I'm getting into some stuff, I'm going to try to treat this tome with the same kind of respect I would treat any of the same kind of material that I'm into. So I'll focus inward, and I will say aloud, I don't really care if Adam hears me. I'm confident in my abilities. I'm a continuous learner. I remember that which I read and understand. I am in control of my choices and actions. And I'm going to attempt to empower myself.
Okay.
But not to increase my intelligence. I want to try because this is a lot of information and I don't know how long I'm going to be able to be here. So I want to try to give myself as eidetic a memory as I can. So that's the first thing I want to do.
Okay.
Does that undermine one still? Like, I don't know how you would rule that.
I would say eidetic memory for a passage of time in equal to successes.
Sure. And I'll also be I'll be actively if I see interesting diagrams or like interesting passages, I'll be taking pictures of it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll roll for that. 2 successes on the brain thing.
The brain thing.
And I know that Adam is. I know that the only thing I know about Adam is that he likes to train, which means that he either has studied or he's been taught or he's well practiced. So what I'm going to do, since I have to read this in Spanish, if I want to share information with him, I'm going to do my best. Rather than explain it to him in layman's terms, I want to try to extend my understanding of what I'm reading to him through our shared hallucinogenic experience.
We very closely slip into backcountry here in a moment.
With backcountry.
Adam has a sphere of mind and is also thoroughly indulged, so he will, relent, I guess?
Relent, being receptive
to this obvious psychic attack.
I don't have telepathy, right? But I feel like I can give him the right impressions of what I'm trying to say without having to over communicate. So I'm going to try to basically help him, understand what I'm reading and what I'm saying as I'm saying it.
Okay, I'm good. I think you'll have it for effectively what is about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay. Do I need to roll for the Mind 2 thing? Because I think that's what it would be under.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. This place is juiced, and I still don't really know how to work it, but I'm going to spend a point of contestants to make this effective.
Okay.
Do 10s explode on casting rolls? I don't remember.
Yes.
If it's the explode, okay.
Unless
That's
there's a
3.
1 to negate it.
Yeah, no ones. So 3 successes on blasting Adam with whatever I understand about this.
It's really not blasting per se.
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny because the two of you sort of get into a groove and you end up at the, sort of as this effect begins, you get a certain vibe and it's something that you respond to, Adam. And so you go from sitting across the table from Dante, sitting next to him, and you pick up basically what he puts down. So I'll try to summarize a little bit of the manual of bodily health that you guys have in front of you. And it is in some ways at least in the beginning, a bit of an elementary text. It looks like that Juan Martin did his best to give everyone a bit of a primer. And so he does so in a way only a Spaniard could of the time period. He talks about things that make a ton of sense right now. Daily activities, the type of daily activities, the type of food intake. And he's way far ahead of his time when it comes to understanding nutrition. Imagine reading a book about someone who is talking about micronutrients, but they don't know that that's what they're talking about. But that's what he's talking about. And he has hard data, numerical data on what his diet is. And he uses his diet and his program to show how his body was improved over a 3-month span and then a 6-month span. And you see all of the, for lack of better terms, it's the charting that he's doing in this book. And you realize that he has got to be an awakened mage.
So just for reference then, so you're saying that this predates the discovery of the calorie, right? Late 1800s.
Right.
Was when somebody decided to set fire to something.
Yeah.
So was this guy setting fire to stuff beforehand?
Yeah, it sure seemed like it.
This is rad. Okay.
And as you begin to weave your way through Juan Martin's tale, that's when you hear Oliver say, I found something.
Oh. I'll take one of the bands and like tuck it in at the page and close it. And I'm just going to bring it with me.
That was genius.
You hear a cough behind you. You see John Crescent standing behind you.
What's up?
May I offer you a bookmark? It
Oh,
comes
sure.
out. It comes out like someone holding a throwing dagger.
You're going to throw that?
Use it or he'll kill us with it, I think.
He pitches it like a throwing card, and it
Oh,
lands on the table. He's like 8 feet away.
Nice toss. Thank you.
Always use a bookmark.
That is a fantastic idea. Shh. And thank you, sir.
No problem.
As we walk away, that man is terrifying.
He needs to get laid.
Okay, so Kayleigh, are you also answering the call?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to make a note of what page I'm on and just close the book. That way I don't need a bookmark. And walk over, still holding the book, just so that way I can compare and see if this is a consistent name or not.
Okay. Your fellow will workers join you, Oliver.
Okay, so I found this book, the Lords of Deep Umbra. So basically, there's this place deep in the spirit world where these extremely powerful lords dwell. And usually they don't interact directly with the world, but occasionally they try to break through. And if this was one of them, then it tried to break through at the sphere, and we need to go to the sphere to investigate, to figure out what's going on.
Okay. Ballpark. Did it happen to say how bad this would be if it was one of those?
Yeah, it would be really bad. Really bad.
Now, when you say really bad, like capital R, capital B?
Well, I'm talking like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Bad.
That's a big Twinkie.
That's a big twin.
Okay. Well.
Or we could not do that.
Adam looks down at Dante. Like, physically, not, socially or anything, but literally looks down at him. Well, we were there. I mean, kind of feels like we should do something, though, right?
Right.
The shit's doing a lot of work.
Well, the other problem is, Dante, if she's after us or after you, since she appeared in your dressing room, it might behoove us to get rid of her if we can, or prevent her from maybe making it out. And I'll open my book to the page where I have the name of this particular spirit. So while it doesn't seem relevant, and I'll hold up my book, this is a book about the Salem witch trials, but there were stories during that time where men, while they were essentially hunting, would hear whispers trying to convince them to come over and worship Satan and get essentially the equivalent of powers that they could use. There was one man who accepted that and as a consequence was burned at the stake, but they talk about the power that he performed, and the spirit that gave him that power was named Babel, not spelled the same way as Tower of Babel in the Bible. Babil, not El.
So I think that right there is a good enough reason to go check it out.
Right.
I mean, what are the chances she's still there, right?
She might be still there, if that's...
Just trying to talk myself into going.
I doubt she's still there, but the way I'm kind of hearing it, somebody that big is going to leave big footprints.
I don't know. It's just, you'll have to forgive me for being reluctant to wanting to chase this thing down.
Well, I don't really want to chase it down either, but given the nature of everything that happened, it's definitely safer, probably, if we do the investigating, the poking around, the tell her to fuck off. Because
Can I tell y'all like what bothers me the most about this? And it's not the giant power thing that's trying to get us or whatever. It's the fact that we just got here, right? Like we are just now becoming aware of all this stuff. And there's all these people with all this knowledge and all these books and all this power. And we're the ones poking around? Like, you'll have to forgive me, but I feel a little sorely underqualified here and underprepared.
well, I do too, but is it? So I'm gonna look at Oliver and like raise my eyebrows. Is it too much of a stretch to think that the only reason that we even know about this is because there was that thinning of a veil that was talked about?
Yeah, I mean, basically.
Like, did we get our abilities because the veil thinned and we were just more, I guess, susceptible to getting the powers, and that thinning of the veil also let her out? Like maybe it's not just a coincidence. Maybe there is a correlation between the two, but I don't actually know if that's if that's what happened, but it doesn't seem like it's potentially that far off.
And if that's true, then we may have some kind of link to it.
Okay, pose a hypothetical and I'll leave it at this. What if we find her?
Okay, but how do we find her?
No, I'm just saying, what if we find her or she finds us? What then? What's our plan? What's our exit?
You worry too much.
I think about what might happen to my body and soul from time to time. Yeah.
Well, nothing's happened since then, except for the storm.
I don't think it's unreasonable to be worried about that, Dante. I just feel like I should chime in here and say, I think you should still. I don't even blame you for feeling underqualified for what you're dealing with or underexperienced for it. But thankfully, you have these more experienced mages and their resources around you.
And yet, they're willing to let us just go off and do this. This feels bad, right? Like it feels not good. And I
tell you what, Dante, you can stand. If it feels not good, you can just stand behind me if the bullets start to fly or there's fire. And I'm usually pretty resilient to these things. I mean, so if that makes you feel any better.
I'm going to walk over to the guest book and ask John in the guest book if he would go investigate the sphere with them. If nothing else, it's a good research opportunity.
I just want to know why they aren't.
John steps over and writes on the right-hand side of the page. And his penmanship is chef kiss. Well trained. His cursive is impressively legible. And he says, in the text he writes, he says, I am bound to the library, and I am here to protect it. I can, in my position, offer material assistance, information, but House Bonasages does not engage in direct conflict.
Well, Dante, I have an answer for why one of them isn't going. I can't tell you why the rest of them aren't. Like the doctor you met the other day, or Kayleigh's priest, or, But this guy is bound to the library, so he couldn't help you even if he wanted to.
There's a big friggin' surprise. Like, I'm fine with taking calculated risks. There's just a lot of incalculables here. So, that said, if we're gonna go, we're gonna go.
So before we go, Oliver, is there anything in that Lords of the Deep Umbra that matches the name of the spirit in this book?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
They had proton packs. What do we have? Is there anything in here that could help us protect ourselves from that should the need arise? What does that even look like?
I don't know. I got nothing.
No, it's cool. I don't know either.
I mean, I continue reading here if you want. Maybe there's some more information in here.
Please do. I will put a hand on Oliver's shoulder. I'm with you, man. I am. But damn.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay. Is the group going to leave the library?
Well, I was looking over this book.
John will let us check that book out, right?
I can't leave the library.
I was going to, but all this reading is fantastic.
We hang out for another hour, have another skill rolls.
I was just getting started with Juan Martin. De la Vega has a lot to offer in the ways of harmonizing my body.
He does. Old knowledge, but relevant.
John, you got this on audiobook?
You hear from like around a bookshelf. I don't believe so, but I would be willing to allow you to come back and study it, provided you were in the right frame of mind.
I'll use bookmarks next time, I promise.
Oh, no, it's nothing like that. Well, Sherry and I were children of the 60s. I can smell the psilocybin.
Oh, I can't get right in here.
Well, there is a level. You're close to drifting off the floor there, I think. You look down for a second, it does look like your feet are coming off the floor. And then you're fine.
Oliver, check this out. All right, cool. So show up sober. Got it. I put the book down. I make a square motion with my hands.
All right.
So I guess we're gonna go over to the sphere.
You sure these are your people, Oliver?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a car. Wait, no. I don't think I have a car at the moment.
Nah. Not so much. I might be able to help you out with something though. Temporary if you'd like.
I have a car. I have access to a car. I could call a car. Do we want a car?
That's probably the best way to get from here to the sphere. I'm pretty sure we don't want to walk.
I mean, I even get it.
You'll want to step outside the library here and into the business proper if you're going to make a phone call.
Sure, yeah. My reception sucks down here. All right, I'll go into the not library.
You exit the library into the not library. You see Sherry like at the desk, like checking books back in. Hi.
Hey, can I make a call here? Is this cool?
Yeah, if you would just sort of point towards the front door, which is of course like half effectively snowed in from all of the dust. Just maybe head towards the door?
Sure. I basically lean on the door. I put like one arm on the door frame and make the call.
She finishes up what she's doing and then steps out of the room. Are the rest of the players present while you're making this call?
Yeah, I call the agency.
I'm going to stand right next to him, uncomfortably close.
You hit the send button, Dante, and you hear a voice on the phone.
Whoa. Hello?
Dante? You hear a bunch of fuzz, a bunch
Hello?
of static. You can hear Susan trying to talk to you.
Can
Dante,
you hear me?
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm with some friends. I need a car. Can we get a car out in this?
Car.
SUV maybe?
Yeah, probably. We've got a lot of stuff tied up. We're trying to make sure all of our people are okay. You have been off grid for hours.
Yeah, I've been reading and doing drugs.
What?
What?
Reading and doing
Did
drugs?
I'm sorry, you're coming in. You're a little choppy. So about the SUV.
Yeah, we can get you a car. Tell us where you are.
Shh, do I remember where the hell I am?
You do not. Absent-minded flaw.
Fuck. Hey, Oliver, where the hell are we?
I give him the address. No, wait, no.
No, I don't give her the address.
Who are you calling?
Huh?
Who are you calling?
I'm calling a car.
From who?
My agency.
Cars can't talk, Dante. I think you've had enough shrooms, man.
If you want a car, you can go a couple blocks away and pick up a car.
All right, man. Hold on, Susan. I have to go outside. Just stay on the line. I get my windbreaker out and tie it up again, put my mask on, do all the things that I did to weather the storm. I give Oliver a thumbs up and go out there with my earbuds in so that I can actually talk.
Yeah, the wind's about 15 to probably 18 miles an hour at this point.
I will run a couple blocks away.
Yeah. You run, you find a good wind block.
Yeah, and I'll tell Susan the corner that I'm at.
Oh, yeah.
Is there business for me to duck into?
Yep.
All right. I will duck into somewhere.
I can hear you now.
Hey, yeah, sorry about that. I was really crappy reception.
So, yeah, where are you? We'll send a car to pick you up.
We're actually going to need it for a while. So, yeah, you might want to send a car and someone to take the driver back.
Okay, hang on. What's going on?
I just need a car to get around in. I can't walk everywhere in this stuff. And I got some people with me.
Okay, yeah, you got some people with you. I understand. I'll send a car to that corner. Should be there in 20 minutes.
Thanks. And as far as everybody else goes, is anybody not reaching out? Is what's going on?
Our main office had a power outage. And when it did, it messed with a bunch of the phones. So,
Okay.
like, my desk phone isn't working right. So that's why I'm on the cell and trying to get a hold of you and trying to get a hold of some of the other talent from the agency.
All right. Well, I'm all right. I'm in good company. I'm safe. I haven't spent a lot of time out in the sand, but it is blasting its way across the landscape. So I'm guessing after this blows over, pun intended, we'll get into next steps and whatever my next project's going to be. But as far as I understood, right now I'm kind of on personal time, unless I'm needed for something.
Until the storm blows over, there's nothing we can do. So,
Hey, do you know if is the lab open?
no, all of the labs will be closed. At least until the storm passes. We're kind of in a bit of a bind. Not only us, but a lot of the Vegas clientels are starting to put up stop signs.
Gotcha. Well, just so you know, if you can get me on the schedule, one of the conditions in my contract was that I'd have access to the compounding pharmacy. So I think I'd really like to take a look at what we have access to.
Yeah, I'll see what we can get in touch. Also, you had, well, from our last conversation in the parking lot, you had said that you wanted to have a chat with Jason, Mr. Kierzik.
Yeah, whenever he has time. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he has time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he just seemed really informed on matters like future planning, which really just hasn't been my shtick. And while you're concerned with my present, I do need to think about my future. So, just kind of want to keep my options open and see if I'm working for you, I'm working with you. Why not get to know other people, right?
There's nothing wrong with networking.
I mean, he's been pretty close to my pelvis too, so.
Well, he does enjoy vetting talent personally.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it. No, he seemed like a decent fellow to get to know. So
He's certainly somebody who can keep your financial future secure.
family first, right?
That's what they say. You should see the car in about 15 minutes.
Look, I know I freaked out on you last night. I'm gonna try to keep that shit to a minimum. There's just a lot going on right now, and I don't really know what to talk about or what not. So I'll keep you apprised of things.
Good. Do so. And stay safe out there. I understand the drivers are not being very careful.
Yeah. Well, if you really want to know where I'm going, I don't need to tell you because you're probably going to be able to GPS the SUV anyway. So if you have any questions, let me know.
I will. Susan hangs up.
Yeah, hang up. And I wait wait outside or wherever I'm inside and watch the dust storms.
Okay.
I will send. I'll send Oliver a text message saying, "Car's picking me up at this corner. If you want to meet me at this business, whatever it happens to be, this is where I am."
Okay. Like, I sent it back. Okay. I guess we should probably get going if we want to meet him. He's got a car coming.
Provided that there are no objections, we'll just flash forward to the group bundling up and then heading up a few blocks to meet Dante in what is essentially like a bit of an alcove on the side of a building, which serves as a good wind block from all the dust. So in this space, there is ambient dust, but there is not, not gale force, but there is not a 15 or 20 mile an hour wind.
Did Tudor bring a raincoat this time?
No. I mean, she tutors with you the entire time, so.
No, I know. I'll check on her. Is the dust still accumulating?
It is, and it begins to accumulate back on the portion that John had wiped clean.
Shit won't let up.
It won't, and I don't think it's going to anytime soon. I would like to stay out of it as much as possible, though.
Look, I know that you don't trust Susan. I don't know that I trust Susan, but I trust that they're invested in me. They gain nothing by just losing me. If anything, it's a big waste of time and money.
That is true. I am glad that if I have one thing in common with Susan and the company that she keeps, it is that losing you would be a giant waste.
Thanks. Kind of side-eye my mentor.
I'd be nothing without you, for now. Don't be silly.
Look, you haven't read about the wheel yet.
I mean, you should.
So the group gets together and is probably in that space for just a few minutes before a gray Tahoe shows up, and behind it is a Buick Regal. And you see the driver get out of the Tahoe, and he has what almost looks like a uniform on, but it has a hood.
Okay.
And it almost looks like it sits around his shoulders like a big hood would, but there's a zip up the front of it. And he gets out and yells over the wind, "You Dante?"
I am!
He points to the Tahoe. He gets over to the Buick and opens the back door and gets in.
Give him a thumbs up and point at the Tahoe. Y'all ready?
Clamber in the back.
Okay.
Actually, I got a question for y'all. This is pretty intense driving going on right now. It's not really my thing. Does anybody like driving or is good at driving or thinks they're good at driving?
I can drive.
I tentatively hold out the key. Well, it's in the Tahoe, right? So I hop in the passenger seat.
Okay. So Oliver is driving.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Once everybody's inside and we have a moment to dust off, I will just reiterate what I said to Susan. Look, it's probably no mystery where this car came from. It's no mystery that they're probably going to know where we're going. So if we're not okay with that, this would be the chance to not do what we're doing.
I think we have to be okay with what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
All right.
Adam nods.
Okay. Group piles in the Tahoe, and you head off towards the sphere. A place none of you probably want to go, but seemingly must. And I think that's a perfect time to end this episode. So thanks for joining us on another episode of Ascension of Babylon. And we'll look forward to seeing what the sphere offers the second time around. Thank you, and good night.